Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're all having an amazing Tuesday and a great start to the coming week. We have a lot of things to discuss because there's a lot of things happening between Disney executives, Lucasfilm creatives such as Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, what's coming for the next season of The Mandalorian, and what fans can really expect for the overall quote-unquote Mandoverse, and what specifically actor Pedro Pascal had to say about a lot of alarming truths about The Mandalorian Season 3 production. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. Now, Pedro Pascal has really been opening up more and more about his experience with Mando Season 3 and just himself playing Din Djarin in the, Mandoverse projects, be it Book of Boba, Star Wars The Mandalorian, and even the up-and-coming Ahsoka Season 2 that has been officially greenlit by Lucasfilm. There's a lot of things coming our way when it comes to Star Wars. Now, we know that recently Temuera Morrison came forward about everything related to Boba Fett's appearance in Mando Season 3, and Pedro Pascal is going to be touching on some elements of that and other aspects of Mando Season 3 that really do shed light on the creative struggles between John, Dave, and Kathleen Kennedy. Now, a common misconception is that Kathleen Kennedy was not involved in the Mandalorian Season 3 creative process, or that she was not involved, or, was and wasn't, basically. So she was involved during the scripting phase, but was not involved while they were filming, so to speak. So it was like a mixed thing that recently came to light, and basically, when you're writing the script, that's when most of the things are happening, when what's going to pop up in the story and what's not. Anyways, with Disney and Lucasfilm currently course-correcting the Star Wars franchise, starting with the Ahsoka Tano series, which had zero involvement from Kathleen Kennedy, however, in a recent interview that Pedro Pascal took part in, he went on to reveal one shocking detail, or more, related to The Mandalorian Season 3 by stating the following. So, believe it or not, I had a lot more screen time in this season. I would say we shot tons of more footage for the show, for each individual episode that got cut back, that had me in it, that was drastically trimmed down. We even had plans with Temuera Morrison, where his scenes as Boba Fett were cut from the script before filming, and John and Dave really wanted to bring him back, and Kathy and some of those at Lucasfilm and Disney at the time felt it was necessary to leave Boba Fett out of the picture. I will forever love Temuera, he's a great guy and actor, but we also were supposed to have Rosario back with us as Ahsoka. John and Dave also had that written and somewhat filmed for Ahsoka's return, and I believe it was the final episode or the episode before that, I'm not sure, since we shot many things out of order towards the end. Now let me stop right here for 1 second about what Pedro is unveiling. Now he is touching on the Temuera Morrison drama, alright? I don't know if you guys knew about this, but Temuera Morrison recently came forward about Disney basically just ignoring him and really kind of just leaving him in the dark, essentially ghosting the guy from getting involved in Mando Season 3. There were plans to bring him back, and he never got the call. It's like that they had plans, and they just cut his contact. Just like that, cutting a wire. No connection at all whatsoever for him to contact them. So, this does bring one to question. We know that there were initial plans for the Book of Boba Fett Season 2, and it's possible, because we haven't really been hearing all that much about that lately for the past 3 or so months, could that show very well have been cancelled? That's another big question open on the table for discussion, there's no doubt about that. But moving forward to the next thing, and I think this is where things begin to become a little bit more apparent about Kathleen Kennedy's drive with Star Wars, and why she really just does not seem to like legacy characters, or characters that were created by Dave Filoni, or anything around those lines, right? It seems like she's got some kind of issue against the fans and the George Lucas philosophy and the overall structure of what Star Wars stands for. There's no doubt about it that it's very vivid to us, the fans now, that Kathleen Kennedy has some kind of initiative or agenda going on to transform Star Wars for non-Star Wars fans. That's almost what it looks like. And thankfully she's not involved with, of course, the Mandalorian Season 4 and Ahsoka Season 2 and beyond, only Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. So that's quite reassuring, to say the least. But moving on. So, he goes on to elaborate. Rosario was a little devastated over the fact that she did not get to make her appearance, and Tamora was too. I think he felt bad the most out of everybody, since he was just snubbed from appearing again in this season. It was a tough production this season. We had lots of creative differences, and not so much from John and Dave. They wanted to do big, very visionary type stuff, but were capped by Kathy and Lucasfilm, and Disney just wanted to do something different this time around. Some pieces of which were changed or removed at last minute. One thing I will say is the clones were never meant to be Moff Gideon clones, but rather somebody else that I'm not going to go into right now. Maybe that's for another time, but yeah. It was very challenging as a production for everybody, including myself. So, again, I mean, here we have Pedro Pascal really kind of putting it forward there, that this was a very tough production, especially when it comes down to, you know, everything related to Din Djarin, you know, the story of him and Boba Fett and Ahsoka getting drastically altered and or cut down or just cut entirely. And that's the biggest problem, is that, you know, you have things like this all over Star Wars. It's always happening. It's always going to progress this way by Kathleen Kennedy, as long as she's, you know, in control of the Acolyte and Skeleton Crew. I don't believe those shows are going to be successes. And I'm not trying to be pessimistic or negative or anything like that. I'm not that type of person. But let's just be honest here. It's a Kathleen Kennedy-driven series, both of which. And she has 100% control for the most part. We know that Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni have been patching up elements of those shows, roughly 40% for each show, but it's not likely to have a big impact on the main story, right? The whole structure of what the story stands for, stuff around those lines. So, yeah, Pedro Pascal really putting it out there again that Lucasfilm really went through a big problem with Season 3. And it wasn't because of John and Dave, it was because of creative struggles with Kathy and even some of those over at Disney that, by the way, some of the executives were loyal to Kathleen Kennedy at the time and still are to this day. Some, not all. I would not be surprised if some of those executives had a role in all of this. And I'm also leading to believe now that the Jack Black and Lizzo appearance in one of the earlier episodes was not a call by John and Dave. I really do and am starting to believe that that was a Kathleen Kennedy decision without a doubt. So, yeah, I mean, it's interesting that Din's scenes were cut back quite a bit. Each episode was supposed to be drastically longer, and Tamora Morrison got snubbed, he got ignored, he was supposed to come back, he was supposed to be, you know, filming and stuff around those lines, he was in the script, and then he just got cut off. And so, I think that has a lot to do, perhaps, with looking at the fan criticism of either Book of Boba Fett, or Kathleen Kennedy just does not like legacy characters. Who knows? You know, it could have been either or. So, there's a lot of things going on here, obviously. A lot of fans are just very frazzled over this. So, anyways, guys, you know, drop a comment below. Fill me in below what you guys have to say about this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. And I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.